Hello, everyone. My name is, and let's get real for a little bit. And what I mean by getting real is there's a lot of little kind of line. And when it gets to us, we have a hard time coping with stuff. Now, the thing that I like to do is nothing but pure therapeutic. It's not about earning money. It's about enriching my own life. You see, I can't do anything for anyone, as anyone can't do anything for me. I have to do it for myself. You've heard the phrase, you love thyself first, then you can love your neighbor. And that's because if you have no love in yourself, how can you love someone else? If you have nothing to give, then you can't give what you don't have. And that's the way I am. So I do a lot of therapeutic things. One of them is not smoking, even though it does relax me. And yes, I call it a habit. But I smoke. Sometimes I smoke a perfecto, a little bit fatter, but that is pure enjoyment. But everything I do, there's a rhyme and reason for it. You see, according to doctors, I am schizophrenic. I have some type of mental thing going on inside me. A thing going on inside me kind of interrupts my process and my thinking because it kind of confounds it. So when I started researching the brain, because every psychiatrist that I talked to said that no, they don't know why the brain malfunctions the way it does. And that's their what is the right way? And how do they get to determine I come up with that's the right answer? Because they don't know. And I did that. And I used evolution, my faith in that being something bigger and greater than me, does not play in this part of it. All that is just my belief that there's always something greater and better than us. And that's the way it's always going to be for me. I can't change that fact. The mental health community did not know what caused the problem. And I don't call them problems because to me, they're trying to get us to think a certain way. And we're not that way. It's like they are a radio broadcaster and they're trying to put everybody on the same wavelength that they are. And that's not going to be possible, nor is it sustainable situation. You just won't do it. So the only thing to do is really process and figure out what causes what I call mental differences. And through the process of evolution, like I started getting to, it's nothing religious, so take it out. What is the very first part of the brain to develop in our evolution of human beings? And it says I couldn't come up with anybody that had the right answer. So I had to theorize what would happen. And I started going on those certain studies that's going on in the world, that there are certain human DNA in everything upon the earth. But in the right temperature and the right conditions, that DNA can start processing and forming heat. And how does that, do I know that? That can be true. because they found huge DNA in a foam and in the hot water of Yellowstone National Park. And those volcanic waters that's there, they have found the making of the human DNA that even though it's not stacked up to become who we are, the DNA was still there. So that got me to thinking, maybe that is right. That's how we all are. But if so, that means we didn't start one place. It had to start different places upon the earth, which in theory is correct. We didn't start one place, we started different places all over the earth, any place where the conditions were right. Let's say nerve connections are unstable, we're trying to reconnect it. There we go, I'm back. But if all these conditions right, the human being evolution started in multiple places all at the same time, basically. And when I'm saying same times, I'm saying within 100, 200, maybe 300 years apart, they all started. But what would be the formation? Well, like all life upon the formation, we would start out as a simple compound, and this simple compound would be just us, like a little foam or a little moss or something like that. We would be very simple. And as we grew and become more than just a foam or a moss or whatever, and we started developing now, we had to have something that would take and help us. And that would be a reaction to things. Just like you see Bing's fly trap. You know, you put a fly in there and the thing catches the fly. In natural reaction, we were being a fly trap. But the simple form of what we were at the moment would be that we had to be able to react. And in doing so, we had to have something else, a little bit more than just thought. We had to have what we do now, a nervous system. But the nervous system wouldn't go to a brain at the moment. Where would it go? It would go to a central nervous place where it would all react in the same way, no matter where it was at that it needed to react, it would react. And the first reaction that it ever had was to multiply. And to do this, it would need energy. And it would have to be sustainable enough for it to multiply and go on. Just like our single blood cells do today, they get energy and nourishment from someplace and it multiplies. And it's all basically the same thing. So the first thing that we had was the central nervous system. And we might not even have a spinal cord at the time, but we would have a central nervous system. Matter of fact, lots of people experience things through the central nervous system, which is called the sciatic nerve. And it runs all up and down through the backbone to a little cord at the base of our brain. And that would be the first processing center. Before we had anything else, we had that. And it did two things for us. We could either be happy or we could be scared. Accept something or not accept it. Fight or flight was part of the fear. And the happiness was joy and the elation that was the fear. And that produced endorphins within our body. And those endorphins are still present within our body, very much so. How much so? There's people today that want to come on YouTube just so that they can get popular because it releases those endorphins into the brain that says, yes, this is good. It's like anyone out there that's singing or performing or that's very popular in the world, they got to keep on because those endorphins is what you live for. You may not think so, but take a common drug addict. That's what happens to them. They get to feel like they're on top of the cloud and nothing can happen to them. Endorphins gives you that utopian feeling that everything's all right, everything was all right. And when you come back down and realize it's a crash. And that's what happens to a lot of these people that are very popular. But anyway, we had to start out like that. And we're still developing people. We have not changed that much. So after we developed ways, we started running. And the scientists now are figuring out that that was about 500 or 600,000 years ago. But in evolution, that's just a blink of an eye. That doesn't take long at all. So what really is going on with it? Well, in our cortex, in the center brain, that fight or flight, everything that we learn, everything that comes to us, lets us know something that we need to remember, has to go through those two little glands that are fight or flight. And let me tell you something. When you got a doctor telling you you're not thinking right, a fight or flight means that everything that you're thinking is wrong and you want to run away. You want to stop, fight or flight. And that's what happens. And some of us develop inner personality, schizophrenia. Some of us has high and low, and we call it manic or anxiety attack. And sometimes, lots of us, we feel that there is not enough endorphins in our systems, and we keep thinking everybody's against us. And that's going to go on anyway, but that's called depression. A lot of these little problems that the doctors and everybody's talking about, they have not come up with the reality that is coming through that little part of the brain that started when we were still, developing evolution stage. It still happens. And that hurts us because the way that we process our thoughts then is stymied. It is slowed down. Once we develop to accept that this is the normal form, that there is no such thing as mental problem or mental illness, there is just different thinking. It's not stinking thinking, it is different processes. We each have them. We each do it in different ways. There is not a psychiatrist out there or medical doctor out there that processes thoughts in the same way. If they did, they both would be medical and psychiatrist doctors. No, they went their own different ways. Not everybody could be an orthodontist. Some orthodontists just like to help people to have good, strong, healthy teeth, while other orthodontists want to take and make stuff to go in their mouth so they'll make them healthy, a healthy mouth. The different type of orthodontists out there, just like the different type of eye doctors, foot doctors, I mean, there's all types of people out there, different type of arts out there. Music is one, paintings is another, poetry is another. There are so many different type of arts out there. Would you believe that being a politician is an art? Because they have to know how not to let what other people say control what they're thinking, what they're going to say. they're kind of shutting off part of that reaction portion of the brain. Some of them can't do it too good. The former president couldn't do that, and sometimes the word got going, and his reaction, you can see. I'm not gonna say who that is, and that's what's going on with the brain. There is no such thing as mental difference, and since I've developed the way that I'm thinking, I'm able to see things in a better and brighter light. I mean, let's get real, people. This world is not the best place in the universe to be. Right now, there's so many people on the earth. Can any of you tell me what the population of the whole earth is? Not many people can do that. And if you think it's 7 billion, you can't think it's more than that. Because not everybody's being counted. It's sort of like people voting. You might get anywhere from 12, 30 to 40% of the people will vote. But that means that there's at least 60 or greater percent of people that don't agree with the results of the vote. So if you think the population of the earth is only like 7 billion, you have to rethink again because there's lots more out there. I could say at least 25 to 40% better, more people out there than what you think. Maybe more than that, and I'm using a low estimate on it. But when you think about it, the United States that I live in is a privilege, a very privileged place to be. Because people don't realize the advantages that we have over other nations. Let me warm this up. Then I'm going to finish up. Where in many nations, people don't have a right to choose what's going to happen to them. In America, we have that right to choose. When we came to America, the people that came here, and they didn't come from just over Europe. They came from all over the world here. I mean, even the Aztecs and the Incas and all the people that developed and were grown in South America and even here in America. Like I said, human beings didn't start in one place. You might say, well, that's the oldest person found. Doesn't mean that's where we started. That just means that's the oldest person found. I mean, there's rocks and things, architectural stuff going on that around the world that's older than any human being upon this earth right now. And you have to ask, how did it get there? And you can't say that it just came from outer space, a spaceman did it. No, it happened because of somebody here on Earth. That means some of us, human beings, may have been here many times before, and our development has started many times over. That's the logical conclusion to that. But it kind of shows you that people didn't start in one place, they started all over. But when they came to this part of the world, in the United States of North America, they all came because they wanted to have a choice. That's what the freedom is about. Now, some of the choices have been bad ones. So lots of decisions and things that people have done have been just for pure meanness. And the meanness is that they're trying to preserve their own race. That's wrong. But then again, that's been going on since before human beings could do anything else. I mean, even in the world or the wolf, You got one dominant male and maybe several lower ones, and they may go off and form their own, but they don't form it right there. They had no choice in that pack. They are where they are, and they're either loyal to the lone wolf or they're not. It's the same thing with the human beings or any other society of any animal. Regardless on the land or in the sea, they all do the same. I mean, one set of bees in a hive will attack and kill another set of bees that cross over into its boundary. It's just that. Even the weeds of the fields do the same thing. A weed cross over into the field of another weed and they're going to battle. Just the way it is, people. That's the nature of who we are. We're all destructive and we're all wanting a positive purpose. And that's not stinking thinking. That's my mind overcoming my schizophrenia that the doctors like to label it, to where I've overcome the fear and I started thinking and processing it my way. And because I do, I can see things in a better light. You can't have the sweet without the bitter. That's what's so good about chocolate. You got a terrible bitterness there. But when you add just the right amount of sweetness to it, oh, it's just so great. And that's the way it is with your life. You have a choice. You could choose to follow the path that your race, your nationality has taught you to go, or you can take and forge your own footsteps, like so many have done. Society is ruling what you do. That's like I said, there's only two types of people in the world. Those that act and those that react. And most of the time, when you react, it's a negative thing. You regret it later on. And that's just the way it is, people. Now, like I said, I'm going to end this. And we're going to go and let you know that there is no such thing as mental illness. There is no such thing as mental problems. There is no such thing as thinking. There is only your fear of what's going on inside you, or not the fear. Fight or flight. Choose your fight, you just took it straight on and realize that it's fear. And that's what's going on in the world with all this other stuff going on. You got fear mongers out there spreading fear. Both type of fear mongers. Just like there was fear mongering about different ways of mental illness. The scariest movie ever made is still Psycho. And people are still making things about scary movies about people just going berserk. And that's the way it is. Anyway, that's what's up now. Let's get real. The preppers out there, you're doing your thing. In the end, you're going to lose just like I am. Everybody is. Because there's a number for our time. So that number, know this. We too shall pass, and others shall come in our place. Bye bye. Thank you for watching.